Welcome back to American Arms Channel, guys. I'm Drake, and this is the CZ P-07. Thanks for tuning in again, people. If you hear some chewing noises, that's the guinea pigs. I'm in my office, which is pretty much the best place to film a video right now in my house, so it's a little cluttered and messy. Please disregard that and any critter noises you hear. Anyhow, today is not a full review of the P-07. It's simply a round count update, an overview of the handgun, my initial impressions, and just a recommendation of what I can say, if this handgun's good to go or not so far. To give you a quick update before we get into any specifics about the handgun, I do want to let you know the round count. This is my wife's handgun, by the way. It's her new concealed carry weapon. But on the 6th, she purchased it. And the same day, we put 130 rounds through it, 125 of which were Talamo, and 5 were gold dot hollow points. We've had 0 failures out of it. And it was cleaned to factory oil and lubricated with Safariland CLP, which is my preferred lubricant. Some people don't like it. I have never had trouble with it. In fact, it's pretty much one of the best lubricants I've ever used, and it's very cost effective. So, little side note there, I do recommend that lubricant. 110, 261 rounds fired, 16 of which were ZQI 9mm NATO. That's Turkish military ammunition, essentially. 45 were Remington Peterson's 115 grain target ammo, just brass case, standard stuff, and 150 rounds of Talamo, 115 grain, 0 failures. Today, the 26th of January 2019, fired 300 rounds, all of which were standard Talamo range fodder, and we had 0 failures. That puts the total round count to date at exactly 691 rounds. 691 rounds, most of which running anywhere from 130 to 300 rounds straight, with no cleaning, of course. Pretty standard procedure. That is a very standard range session for most handgun shooters nowadays. Anybody who does any sort of serious target practice or serious defensive practice will probably go through anywhere from 100 to 300 rounds in a practice session. So, first 691 rounds, no problems at all. Let's get the box out of the way and take a look at the handgun. So, this is the CZ P-07. It is a double action, single action, polymer framed handgun. The light attached to it right now is a Streamlight TLR7. Review eventually in the future. This is a very good light, I can say. It's a 500 lumen, as you can see as I blind the camera and probably you on your screen. But it's a 500 lumen. It's lost a little bit of its brightness right now because we've used it a little bit. It uses a CR123 battery, and it has a total life rating of 1.5 hours for the battery. So not a lot, but considering it's a weapon light and you're not going to have it constantly on, that's good enough. So this is it. It comes with 2 flush fit 15 round magazines, but wait, there's more. It comes with 2 plus 2 base plates for those magazines, to give you an option of putting both on, or as my wife prefers to do, have the flush fit in the gun with the 17 rounder as your spare backup magazine. Now, the downside to these exceptional CZ magazines are that they're $30+. They can range anywhere from $30 to $50. I'd really recommend getting them on the lower end. The 15 rounders that come with it, there is also a factory 16 round that's still a flush fit, still the same profile. They've just messed with the fowler and the spring and base plate a little bit to give that magazine body an extra round capacity. But this one is a 15 rounder, and so is the spare that comes with it. But I put the plus 2 base plate on, of course, for my wife. Of course, the handgun is clear. Just for you safety sallies who might be a little bit worried. I personally think that the handgun looks good with either the plus 2 or the flush fit in it, but the plus 2 is obviously my favorite. Really, really nice handgun. Polymer frame, lightweight. Even with the the TLR7, you're still looking at around the same weight as a Glock 19, equipped with the same light. Now, if you're going to look at something like what my wife and I do carry, and she was previously carrying to this, a 92 FS series Beretta, mine being an M9, then it's definitely a lot shorter. It's definitely got a little bit different profile, more of a blocky profile, but it conceals a little bit better. It's easier to carry, and it's smaller in the hand overall. Not meaning that the 92 series isn't exceptional. My wife doesn't love her 92 Inox, but that it just was a better fit for her overall. She picked this out herself, and you know, knowing that it was a good handgun, I was like, well, honey, if we're going to spend good money, we're going to spend good money and get you an exceptional handgun. And she picked out a good winner. I like it myself. Really handles nicely. Let's go over a few things that you get in the box. Now, the light doesn't come with it, obviously, but you do get the handgun. You get 2 magazines with 2+2 base plates, and you get 3 back straps. And I will open up the box here just so you can take a look inside and then see what it comes with. You can see where the handgun fits. You get small, medium, and large back straps. You get a push-through cleaning rod for just a general push a rag through. You get a nylon cleaning brush. Here's your little baggie that comes with the base plate parts. I've got the 15 rounder in there and then the spare 17 rounder. You also get a safety. So what's equipped on the handgun is not actually the safety, it is a decocker only. Turn the light on there. So decocker only, it is fully ambidextrous, whether you have the safety or the decocker installed. Really nice feature there. It was very, very nice of them to put this much in a package. I mean, it's really well-rounded. Yes, you only get 2 magazines and they're a little bit expensive, but I can forgive that when they've even gone so far as to give me cleaning products. They've given me full warranty and manuals in here. They've given me my +2 base plates, which are a good value. Given me an extra safety, back straps. I basically, out of the box, can, before I even take to the range, configure the handgun exactly the way I want it. I don't have to buy extra components. Oh, and by the way, these sights have a radium style paint where if you charge it with light, or you know, it's been out in the sunlight a lot as it gets dark, or when you enter a dark environment, these will actually glow green. Now, I'm not going to be able to show that to you on the video today, but it's a nice feature. They're not night sights per se, but they do give you some night sight capability, enough to find the sights of the handgun without turning on the light. So there is that. Take it or leave it, but I think it's a very well put together package. It's a very well put together case. You know, a lot of manufacturers don't take the time to add those little extras that, yeah, they add a little bit of cost to the overall product, but if I was going to compare this to a Glock 19 that comes with currently a Gen 5, will come with 3 magazines, cleaning kit, flush fit 15 round magazines, and the manual. You get a little bit extra with this. You get a few extra components, and I think honestly you get a bit nicer gun. You do get a nice nitride finished slide and barrel. You get a double action, single action handgun, which while it's not perfect, a little bit creepy, as you'll see in some of the shooting video I'll have at the end of this video, or the beginning of it, and a little bit of take up and break. It's a little bit mushy. I mean, it's not the best trigger, but it's a good combat defensive use style trigger. It's not perfect, but really for the price point and for what the gun is intended for, you can't fault it. It has its purpose. You're going to be running off a half cock, so you're going to have take up in the trigger with double action, and it's going to have a little bit of creep. It's going to have a little bit of jankiness, which smooths out a lot as you fire it. So I expect by the 2,000 round mark, this gun will probably be very, very smooth. I can tell you that the Berettas are a little bit janky, while have a crisper trigger and have a little bit better single action reset, actually a lot better single action reset than this handgun. They still take 1,000 or a couple thousand rounds to really break in and smooth out and really become a trigger pack that feels perfect in the handgun. So this one I expect the same sort of experience out of. It is a CZ75 based design, so you do have internal rails that run into the slide instead of out, or run outside in instead of inside out on the slide. Disassembly is accomplished just like any other CZ75 pattern firearm. Once you've cleared it, you can pull it back slightly. And I'm doing this backwards, so this is a little bit of a challenge. There's a dimple on the slide stop and slide release lever pin, which is also the axis in which your barrel pivots. And you're going to bring that back slightly, line up 2 lines. You'll push it through, and then you will pull it through the other side. As long as the hammer is decocked or in the half cock position, you can pull the slide straight off. pretty simple. You can get in and clean everything. You can also start maintaining and removing any of your trigger pack components that you need to there. Captive flat wire recoil spring. This is a plastic guide rod. I can forgive it for that. My Berettas use plastic guide rods. I really wish that these manufacturers would go with a steel guide rod, but they're not melting. So they're doing something right with the polymers and it's keeping the gun lighter weight. So I can't really fault it. That would just more be a personal preference. Now this is very dirty, so forgive me if I start getting black all over myself. Barrel's very, very thick, especially in comparison to a Glock. Let me scrape some of the carbon off. You can see there that the feed ramp, extremely well polished. It is sharp. It is a very sharp angled feed ramp, but hits extremely well polished, very smooth, very well feeding. Really, really great barrel. Definitely more accurate barrel than I am. The slide is beautifully milled, beautifully put together. There are no blemishes on this firearm from the factory whatsoever. And even after 691 rounds, even on the breech face, you can't really see a lot of wear, just general case patterning and wear. This is coming in and out of a holster a little bit now, so it's not really being treated super gentle. It's not a safe queen, it's a defensive handgun, and it will eventually show a bit of wear. Even the barrel hood after 691 rounds is not showing a lot of wear. There's a lot of handguns that this will become shiny under 1,000 rounds. Very, very good finish. Very good finish on this handgun. Very easy to take apart and put back together. So, I mean, overall, mechanically, as far as fit and finish, there are some seams on the back of the frame here and on the beaver tail, as well as on the grip and behind the trigger. I wish that they would take the time to take those seams, those burrs off. You can do that with a pocket knife, with a razor blade. You can do that yourself if you wish to. It's not something that's a big deal. But just from an aesthetic point of view, it'd be something nice if they added. But then again, you've got more labor and time because that's something you have to do by hand. So do you want a perfectly put together handgun, or do you want a cost-effective, extreme value, high quality handgun for duty and carry use? That's what you're going to be looking at with the CZ75 series as the P-07. I say 75 series, but that's what it really is. It's really a polymer framed, short barreled CZ75 series handgun. The dogs are freaking out, don't know why, but we'll just continue on and act like I don't hear them. But in general, I think that the texture on the handgun is really exceptional. Not too aggressive, but not too passive. It doesn't feel like something that's going to wear down significantly over any amount of time. You do have a metal magazine release. The magazines are drop free. They do funnel in very well, and I'll demonstrate that again. They drop exceptionally well free. The +2 acts as a nice bumper plate. You can, if you do have larger hands, pinch yourself. The bumper plate's going to help you. The short 15-round flush fit, you may run into your pinky, so you may want to teacup it. You may want to pinky out when you reload, like you will with a lot of subcompact guns. One thing I will comment on, the ergonomics of the massive slide release are exceptional. You've basically got two horizontal lines here that act as your grippy portion or your textured portion of the slide release, slide stop, for functioning on locking the gun open and letting the slide go home. Very, very well done. It's enormous. And I have run into trouble where I've tried to swipe the slide release off and hit the decocker and decock the hammer at the same time, but because it's a decocker only equipped on this handgun, it just goes into double action mode. It's just a little bit longer pull, a little bit of surprise. You're still going to get that round off if you need to. So maybe a little bit of a training issue. If you like to reload your magazine by coming in and up with your non-dominant hand, reaching with your non-dominant thumb, and dropping the slide, that may be something that works better for you. For me, I like to run my dominant thumb on the slide stop. If you have shorter thumbs or smaller hands, that may be an obstacle, but the overhand rat is going to work just as well. So lots of ways to skin that cat none of which are wrong. So, in general, I can't say it enough. I think it's a really fantastic handgun. I do think the trigger is a fault of it, but I can't blame it too much. I think the gun is more accurate than I am. The trigger doesn't help, but once you learn it, it's, you know, 500 or so rounds in, it's definitely getting smoothed out, and it's definitely becoming a little bit more capable of a handgun as far as trigger control, learning the gun, smoothing the gun out through just firing it, dry firing it, racking it. But I digress. Now, holster solutions. I actually have my wife's holster on right now, so let me clear it from my waist, and we will show you exactly what that looks like. Now, this is a black Rhino concealment. This is a 90-10 style Kydex holster. It is passive retention. The retention is not exceptional. You can shake the gun out, but it will hold it upside down, so you can do some jumping jacks and the gun's not going to come flying out. However, I would not recommend doing the worm, doing handstands, spinning around, and then grabbing the gun and shooting some other fellow citizen in their general body. That was an awkward thing to say, but if you've seen that video of that FBI or ATF or whoever it was, agent, over in Las Vegas or Colorado or something who did that, yeah, don't do that with your handgun on you. And especially don't grab for it once it falls out. Anyways, I digress again. But if you're looking for a solution with the particular light you need on your handgun or a really nice holster, check out Black Rhino. I think it's really great quality holster. They had a special for Christmas, and the holster ended up being $87 shipped. Generally, they're going to run in a special camo pattern or special coloring or whatever you want. They'll run around $100. Without that special coloring, if you just come in black or green or gray or whatever you particularly want, a solid neutral color with no patterning, you're looking around 80 bucks. So very effective. Fits very, very well onto the waist. You can pick your cant, you can pick pretty much everything. It's a custom built holster. There is a 2-week lead time, and you will get it about 2 weeks after placing your order. But I'm liking it. I can recommend it for now. The future will show whether or not that will be a continued theme. So that is pretty much the general overview, guys. And I keep playing with it on camera. It's just a lot of fun to play with. It's a lot of fun to shoot. And it stays on target really well. It shoots really flat. I think that it's really a good value for what you pay. You know, sub $500 to a little bit over $500 street price is really good. You can pick these up used as well for less, of course. But considering that you can get saying you don't buy any other magazines, you can have a very, very effective concealed carry setup with a very good holster, custom built to whatever light you put on the handgun, or whether or not you include a light. You can get a custom holster for it that's actually decent for anywhere from $60 to $100. You can have the handgun for around $480 to $525 after tax, and you can purchase yourself a $100 to a $200 light. I mean, for under $1,000, you have a very, very effective, very well thought out concealed carry piece that is Glock 19 sized, that will be all as effective, and it just isn't a Glock, I guess is what you can really put down to it. It's got better ergonomics, better feel. Of course, this is personal preference, this is subjective, but I think generally this is just as high quality of a firearm with better features, more items, more feature set for what you're paying for it overall. So again, not a full review, guys, but definitely something that I will be presenting on the channel as we go forward. I hope you enjoyed this content. I hope this gave you some food for thought if you are considering the CZ P-07. And until next time, guys, God bless. Keep your powder dry. I'll see you in the next video.